Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. We'll start the webinar now. We still one or two people that are due to join, but we've got the majority of people online now. So, on behalf of Servium, welcome to the next of our INOOT webinars. This is a series of webinars that explore sort of vendors to watch, technologies, trends, things that are shaping IT in the tech industry. And it's a brief, short session, should take no longer than 30 minutes. And we also use subject matter expertise guest speakers to talk about specific area. Today, obviously, is around Microsoft Teams. And our aim is to educate you, sort of add value, talk about new sort of innovative tools, and help you sort of make decisions on sort of implementing those tools. So today I'm joined by Tom Marwood. Morning, Tom.
Morning, mate. How are you? You all right?
Good. I'm good, thanks. Tom's a specialist who's worked with us for a number of years. His subject matter expertise is around Microsoft Teams, specifically, and also the Office 365 suite of products, which Teams forms one part. So we believe this is something that's very topical at the moment, and something that will help you where you've either got Office 365 implemented or you're looking to migrate over to Office 365. So just a bit of background on Servium, because a number of you are Servium customers, a number of you aren't. So just a brief bit of background. Our role really as a solution provider is to provide you sort of essential IT, put you at the center of everything we do, whatever your challenge is. We're sort of the troubleshooter that walks in your shoes, understands what your business challenges are, work with vendors in a very agnostic point of view, have an ecosystem of best of breed service partners such as Tom today to help deliver that value adds. And we also have a superb account management team that really do go that extra mile when it comes to working with our customers. Our approach is very much a sort of circle approach, wherever your challenge, however large or small, sort of end-to-end from a strategy, design, implement and support. We work with you collaboratively. The key thing for us, though, is once we've delivered a project, let's review it. Let's understand what the challenges were. Did we deliver it on time, within budget, and to meet all your expectations, if not exceed them? So it's very much a cyclic approach to everything that we do. We have an ecosystem that we're very proud of. It is best of breed. There's a lot of resource that you can tap into, and we'll talk about some examples of that at the end of the webinar, where we can deliver some value to you around Teams and Office 365. So today we're really focusing on the workspace area of technology. There's a number of other areas we work in: compute, data, networking, and more recently security. So today Teams very much sits within the workspace area. So that's my background. Tom, I'll hand the floor over to you.
Thanks, Steve. Morning, everyone. Hope we're all okay. Enjoying this really disgustingly horrible Friday morning. Well, it is in Reading anyway, if you look outside. So a few lovely stats for you to get started, because we all know how much Microsoft love some stats. First and foremost, there are several changes in the world of Microsoft themselves. They did a few bits of research and background information in regards to Office 365 when it first started and what's happening now with the customer base. And what's on the screen is kind of what they found out from it. So the most important part, and this is where Teams kind of comes into play in its own right, is 50% of people are working more collaboratively across their company. So that could be anything from someone in sales having a conversation with someone in marketing, as low as that, to proper big size groups working cross department to make the best out of a project. Obviously, this wasn't the case as much, say, 10 or so years ago, and that it was always available, but the ability for people to talk cross department and work in groups wasn't as easily accessible. And to go with that, it's not just working as a group that has changed. You can also, for example, with Office 365, access your data anywhere you want. You can jump on in a cafe and do it there. You can work from home. You can work on a tablet. You can do it anywhere you want. So Microsoft kind of took that information and thought through a process of themselves and began to think, could we take all of these tools that we already have, because they have them available in different platforms, and combine them into one piece? And that's what they're looking at doing. That's where Microsoft Teams comes into play as such. And it's not a brand new platform that they've made from scratch. It's something that has been available to you inside of multiple different apps over the course of 5 or so years, that they're now utilizing and combining into one place for you to access it all, to make it a lot easier. I've been doing Microsoft licensing for around 4 years. I have seen the highs and the lows of what they can offer, and I can safely say that Teams has been something that they have got right from the start, which is very rare for any company the size of Microsoft to nail straight away. It's a very difficult task, yet Teams has been something that they didn't test or demo in the background. If you're familiar with Microsoft licensing, they have a process where they will release something under a different name, such as if you look at Microsoft 365 they did last year, not advertise it, release it, see how it works, and then rebundle it and release it as a product. Teams, they didn't do. Teams came straight out into the market, ready to go, straight out the box. Wasn't something they released to test. They were confident that it was going to work, and it's a sign that the product itself is something very different to what we've seen them do in the past, and they should be proud of that. To be honest, it's not something that has been released and has its issues. It is out, available, and works very well. So I've got some more stats for you, but these are kind of to show you the momentum of how it's grown. It came out back in January 2017. It was a silent release, but it wasn't a product that they tested, like I said, and then bought out. It came out straight away. The growth, when they started advertising it, jumped dramatically, and it's something that proved to Microsoft that it is a product that is required or needed as such in the market. There are obviously competitors to it, but this is something that combines everything in one place from a Microsoft perspective, and not just a Microsoft perspective. You can attach pretty much anything to this. I'll explain that in a bit, but there are so many different plugins that you can do on third-party apps, etc., that make life a lot easier. It's available in any language set that you want. Not just that, it's available in a language set that you can change on the fly. So if you wanted to have it in English, like I have, and I will do in a demo in a minute, and then flip it over to Spanish, for example, it's just an option in the options menu. You don't have to reinstall the language pack for Spain, for example. It is there for you straight away. And in terms of the stats of users, so 100 million Office 365 users are currently using Teams. That has jumped. They released a stat 2 months ago, which has doubled that. So this was the original information back at the start of this year, but it's now double the size of it. It's available in any Office 365 plan that has a form of SharePoint or Exchange Online or Outlook. So anything from, I would say, Business Essentials and up will come with Teams by default. So it's not an extra product if you're already using the Office suite that you have to purchase. It is available to you straight away. It is here. You can install it, get it set up, and obviously the guys at Servium can help you go through that process if you wanted to. So the stats are done. I'm not going to try and make you fall asleep with any more information on stats. However, I'll go into the actual point of what it can do. So Microsoft, over the course of their licensing, have had several different collaboration tools. And when I do Teams discussions, the first question is, why is this any different, or why is this a product that is of interest? So if you look back, they have had Skype for Business, Yammer, they have had OneNote and SharePoint for the file sharing documents. They have groups, as in Microsoft Groups. They have Microsoft Planner for like your personal management stuff. They have a list of tools that you can use. The problem is they're all different tools. So back in the day, if you wanted to chat to someone, you would jump on Skype for Business or a conferencing piece like we're using Zoom, for example, now. You would jump on something like that to chat or screen share or video. And then you'll post into Yammer if you wanted to have a team group set up where you can go through like, I don't know, changes to company information stuff. If you're starting an event or a project, you'd do it in Yammer. Then you've got all your files that are shared in SharePoint, and then your personal files that are filed in OneDrive. And it just became loads of different places for something where you just think, can we not just have it all in one place? And that's technically what Teams does. So start off with all of your chat integration on any app. So again, we're using Zoom video conferencing today. I know it's something that Servium supplies. You can have Zoom as an app inside of Teams. So Microsoft will obviously advertise it as Skype for Business, right? That's their platform. But there is a widget in here that you can just install and integrate Zoom into your Teams hub. So you can chat across companies or external. You can arrange meetings because it syncs to your Outlook calendar as well, because it has Outlook built in. And you can kind of do whatever you want with it. And most importantly, it has the same level of security and compliance as every other Office 365 app. So everything is built in there for you to manage. And if you're an admin on Teams, you get what's known as the developer section, where you can manage the security and compliance roles for users. So if you didn't want SharePoint to be fully accessible to your entire Teams user base, you can set it that way and they don't see it. All right. So that's kind of what you can do in the chat side of things. To go with that as well, video conferencing is also here. You can have Zoom again and built into it, multi-channel video conferencing, so you can have multiple windows open at one point. You can have the calling plans in here for Zoom as well, or Skype Business, whatever you wish. So if you have a personal number that you're using for Zoom, you can integrate it into here, so you can dial landlines and mobile phones through this actual app. So you can manage it all in one place. It has a full call log. I can show you that again in a second, because I have like a small demo of it running in the background. Everything is synced to a voicemail, which syncs to Exchange, or if you have a different mail platform, it syncs to that. It's very customizable in regards to what your company needs it for. And again, it goes back to the piece of where, if you were to ask me 5 years ago, would Microsoft be talking to Zoom? Would Microsoft be letting you have third-party apps in their programs? If you told me that 5 years ago that today Teams would exist, I would have laughed at you and probably left. Still laughing and laughing now. But they've changed it and it's not. And you can do whatever you want with it, which is nice. So yeah, calling is available. Full video conferencing over voice over IP. You can use it as landline phones, whatever you wish. All of your Office apps can be integrated into here. Doesn't mean they have to be. It's up to obviously yourselves to say what you want integrated. And by every Office app, I don't just mean Word, Excel, SharePoint, OneNote, Publisher. I mean Power BI, Visio, Project, even the apps inside the apps. So Planner, listings, bookings, and Customer Manager for Outlook. Everything can be integrated into here. The way it will look, and I can show you a small snippet again in a second, is that inside each team along the top, you'll have your general section where people chat, and then a tab for each one. So if you wanted to have an Excel tab, you can open Excel inside of Teams and do your work inside of Teams. The reason you want to do that is if you wanted to say, have multiple people accessing it, or an easy way of sharing it across Teams is to edit it in there and send it on. So yeah, it's all available in there. The best reason for it, or the most common reason for it, is so that you can have one app open at a time. The problem that you have with certain tablets, I can't say makes because I'm not going to, is that if you have multiple browsers open or multiple windows open, so if you've got Excel and PowerPoint and Publisher and Teams and Skype and everything open, your tablet will slow down, obviously. Microsoft's plan is to integrate all of their apps into Teams, so it uses just that processing power, but it gives you access to everything. Obviously, with the integration as well, it makes file sharing a lot easier. So you can literally just drag and drop, send people it across over to Teams. They can open it in Teams, edit it, send it back in Teams, etc. So it is available in your standard Teams offering. And you can do this even on the free version. So there is a free app for Teams that you can access, which lets you do the basic stuff. So it lets you set up team groups, lets you sync with Outlook, lets you integrate your Office apps, but it won't let you do things like third-party plugins or go into the developer mode and set certain permissions, etc. So it's a good way to introduce you to Teams. But if you wanted to use it at a business level, you still need the full version. But again, they've made it available in every plan from Business Essentials or above. So as long as you're using an Office app of some type, you're probably going to get Teams already. So it's already there for you. Back on the customization, so you can pretty much customize this how you want it. The most important piece of this is the bot piece. So the second line on here, you can add everything from every third-party app they have available. So obviously not everything in the world will be there, but they have a list of accessible apps, as you can see. There's a small snippet there. Most importantly, you can set up bots. So take, for example, you have a standard list of FAQ questions that new starters will have at your company, and you give them access to Teams, and they can say anything from, I don't know, how many holidays do I get a year, or what standard lunch hours, or like what's the standard fire alarm test per week if you have one, etc. You can pop it into the bot chat inside of Teams, and you can popularize that with the common answers, and the common answers come up. So it's kind of like a small FAQ page. You can do things like that. You can get more advanced, so you can build it through the Azure bot, for example, so it syncs to Azure, so you can get more advanced into what you want to do with automation and pieces. And then on the other side, you've got apps like Zoom, like we're using today, like I said, that can integrate into here. So it's not just a case of that Microsoft are forcing you to use their products and their services. They're going to want you to, don't get me wrong, that's the way that they are. However, it isn't something that they're forcing. They're going to make it available to you, and it's up to you what you utilize Teams for. Okay, so I have a live demo.
Well, okay, Tom, this is the sort of true blue Peter.
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention, everyone who registered earlier, hopefully you're enjoying your Kit Kats, but cross your Kit Kat fingers now, because this is true blue style. The rehearsal worked perfectly. So, Tom, I'm going to hand over to you.
Here we go.
To do the share. So you should be able to.
I mean, obviously there is no pressure in this at all, right?
None whatsoever.
You should be able to see it.
There we go. Yeah, perfect. See that, Tom?
There you go. Okay, so this is our Teams for my company, just to give you an idea of how it works. Very brief. We haven't got a lot set up in here because the real one that I have on, basically we've used this for the whole week, and I've imported a few bits and bobs just to show you guys how it all works. All right, so first of all, top corner is where you can select what you can do. So you can have as many teams as you want. If you've got, so I can join the Microsoft one, for example, as a guest to see the Microsoft announcements that are coming. If you've got multiple companies, for example, if you have multiple sites, so different pieces inside of your company, etc., you can have a different team site for each one if you wanted. It doesn't mean you need a different, if you're a smaller company, you need a site for your marketing or a site for your sales. You do that in the team section on the left. But I mean, if you have a full multiple different companies, you can have a different company site for each one. So activity is what I'm on now. This shows you just the common stuff that's coming in. If you get tagged in it, will show here. You then got a chat piece. So again, this is the bot that I was saying about earlier. A standard one comes as Microsoft, but you can make your own bots. And then you've got a list of people that are suggested for you to speak to, and then your contacts would appear up here. Now, my contacts are through Skype for Business, not through Teams. If I hit that, there'll be nothing there. But you can sync it through the piece if you wanted to, but everything is here as a chat piece. Works either through Zoom, like I said, or works through Skype for Business, or works through whatever chat feature you've got. You can just build it in the plugin. Then you have your teams. So this is for us. So multiple teams running at the minute. I've got a sales one, and all up for everyone. Current events that are coming for us. We moved buildings just recently, so we made a teams for the building. This is a current event that we're planning just for ourselves. As you can see, there's a OneNote meeting attached. There's a planner attached for actions, and it's also along the tabs at the top. So I can go in here along the top and see what the actions are for planner, or what the meeting notes were in OneNote. People can attach pictures and screenshots, and you can reply to it and go through it. Yeah, nice and simple. And these teams you can obviously set in regards to who views it is up to you. So the dots on the side, you can manage the team and add people in. You can add a small channel to it. You can remove it from your favorites. It's not on your main list, etc. Yeah, so it's simple management in regards to what you can and can't do from inside of it. All right. Then you've got the meetings here. So do I dare click it? Why not? This runs to your Outlook calendar. So you can see everything that's going on. So you can see here, right now we're on this meeting. You can see who's people who accepted, what's going on with it, etc. It's all there for you. It's all managed through Outlook. You can book meetings in there. You can sync it with there. It's all available for you to do. All right. Calls, I don't use this for calling, but this is what it will look like. It gives you your personal number, which is built through Zoom video conferencing. This is just my Skype demo number that we've got set up if I wanted to demo it and use it as a Teams example. But this will be like the Zoom screen if you were to do it through Servium as an example here, listing your contacts if you've got contact sync with it, history of calls, and voicemail you can access here as well. So if someone sends you a voicemail to your mobile phone, you can obviously read it, listen to it on there, but also you have a little section in the middle here where you can play your voicemail back to you, and you'll play it through the Teams app rather than playing it through your voicemail phone. And Teams as an app is available on everything minus BlackBerry. So obviously, no one uses BlackBerry anymore. If you do, I apologize, but Microsoft just don't like it. So every standard laptop device, OS, so Mac and Windows, iPhones, Android phones, Windows phones, tablets, the works. The only thing it doesn't do is BlackBerry. Okay. And then you've got a list of files here. That's linked to our SharePoint, so I'm not going to click that for you. But you can link it to whatever you wish. You can link it to your personal OneDrive if you want. You can link it to your SharePoint, or you can have multiple. So if you click it, it'll ask you where you want to view today: SharePoint, OneDrive, maybe somewhere else like a Dropbox, etc. You can all sync it through here. And then finally, you've got your list of apps that you can add into. So these are your common ones. So Planner, again, OneNote. You can make your own wiki page. So for example, I click that. You can start building your own internal company wiki page if you wanted to, kind of like a standard company handbook if you wanted, and then you'd add it in so it appears on this panel on the left. Or if I go back to the Teams for the event, for example, you can make it appear along this top bit here. So you can add like a wiki or any of these. So you can build a Word section. Your own internal website can be listed in here, so you can view your website as well as such. And then all of these apps are standard, and then there's extra apps you can do if you wanted to add them in. Okay, and that's kind of it for like a short demo, just to show you what it can do. It's a huge piece. I cannot emphasize enough how valuable this will be from a Microsoft perspective. I've never seen them do this before. Usually they're very strict in what you can and can't do with it. They won't let third-party apps come in. Like I said, they test it first before they release it. We've been using this for 6 months. I have had very few issues with it. I'll be brutally honest if you want me to know what the issues were with it, but that was 6 months ago, and near enough, a lot of them have been fixed now. So yeah, that's it from me, Steve. I don't know if you've got any questions that you want to run through or not, but.
Okay, yeah, well, great. Thanks for that, Tom. I just, technology worked. So hopefully everyone, you should be able to see at the bottom of your screen a Q&A button. So if there's any questions that that you want to ask, then please click on the Q&A, and then we'll attempt to answer those now. If not, we'll certainly come back to you. So please fire away, but failing that, you can send an email to me afterwards. So we've got a question here from Tim. Does Teams integrate with on-prem, Skype, or just 365?
Right now, just 365. There are plans for it to be integrated with on-prem though, but they haven't given us a date as to when it's going to be launched. Okay.
So a typical implementation that works best, is it one where you'd start with a small department and grow, or would it work better with a sort of big bang launch, Tom?
So we did it the small way. If you ask me, smaller rollouts are better, but that's just my personal preference. It can work either way you wish. So the way that we did it, the reason we did it small is because we wanted to test it internally first, because it was still in early access as you would. This was January 2018. I would say, from my experience, it's easier to roll it out slower. So you do a smaller launch and then roll it out to the bigger departments afterwards. But again, it depends on how you want to do it. It's not, you're not stuck to, if you wanted to roll it out in a big way, then you can use like ourselves at Servium, for example. We're more than happy to train you guys up on how to utilize it, roll it out. It's no problem.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point, because we've worked with a number of customers now on successful migrations to Office 365. We run a number of workshops, again, sort of bringing people up to speed on the whole suite. So we can certainly work there. So thanks for that. And Callum's asked a question about, and I'll take this one, Tom, about Zoom versus Skype. We feel that Zoom as a platform for delivering what we're doing today is a much better experience for clients. It's interesting because Zoom is a complementary technology and platform to 365. It does integrate perfectly, and even more so with Teams. And we've got customers on today, sort of globally. So delivering this sort of rich experience with Skype, a lot of people struggle with when you're doing these sort of things. So we feel that Zoom is a great sort of bolt onto 365, and particularly does complement Skype in many ways. So Alan's asked a question, again, integrating with on-prem Exchange. Customers using Teams at the moment, we want to integrate with sort of a hybrid Exchange. Tom, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it works with Exchange on-prem.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. The only one it doesn't work with, I think, currently, so Skype is one that they're integrating. SharePoint on-prem, it doesn't integrate with yet. That's going to be coming after Skype. But Exchange is already here. I've got a document if you want me to send it over, Steve, so you can send it on the Microsoft Docs. Yeah,
that's great. Okay, thanks, Tom. Question from Alex about Teams and how it sort of differs from other sort of collaboration platforms in the market. Tom, what's your sort of view on that?
So I would say it's the most customizable one. That's the easiest way. So that there are several obviously out there. The best one about Microsoft, and this is more of a from experience piece, they are very good at throwing money at products, and their number one focus for their entirety of Office 365 for the next calendar year is Teams. So in terms of the way that they've always worked is back in January, it was available to use, but it wasn't like fully ready to go. It was very clunky. They're very good at throwing a lot of money at it, so they'll make it work. Right now, I would say they're on par with the number one provider. And I can tell you what that is if you want, Steve.
Yeah, go on, yeah.
Slack.
Okay.
So in terms of Slack, it's here. There are a few things that Slack can do that Teams can't, but that's being alleviated, I believe, in the roadmap for January 2019. The biggest bugbear for me is the sync contact with Skype for Business. So right now, if you want to use Teams, you have to have Skype for Business running in the background. Doesn't mean you have to use it. It just has to be installed on the device. You don't even have to sign into it. It just has to be there. So the biggest bugbear is, why do you have to install this app if we're not going to use it? But it's because it's currently using the sync from Skype for Business to load the chat functions for instant messaging and stuff. And that's coming off on January 2019. They're like discontinuing the Skype link and enabling it inside of Teams. So small things, but as far as I would say, it's on par with Slack. The benefit of it, the most popular platform in the world for office work is Office 365, and it has full integration of it.
Okay, that's great. Well, interesting. I think you might have already answered this question, but from Stephen about importing Skype contacts into Teams.
Yeah, so you can. So it depends how you want to do it, Steve, to be honest. So there are two options. You can import it and have it enabled so the contacts can be imported straight away, or you can flip your entire company to be Teams only, which means if someone were to load up Skype for Business, etc., it will save them to use Teams. If you're not using Skype and if you're using something like Zoom, then that'll be the best way of doing it, because then it forces everything to go through Teams. But by default, it does import the contacts to Skype. It's just for us, because we're using Skype for Business as a default platform, it doesn't do it for us.
Okay. Question from Paul about once sort of Teams has been rolled out and the sort of staff experience of people using it. So how easy will it be for my staff to learn to use Teams?
So it's relatively simple. I wouldn't say it's a difficult platform to learn, which is scary from a Microsoft world, because it's usually the opposite. So for example, it's relatively easy to set up. The demo that I created then took me about 2 or 3 days, and then everyone just chipped in with the information so we could show it to you. And then we just imported a few stuff from our other team site. But in terms of setting up and using it, you can utilize us at Servium, for example. If you want some training days on it, we can set up some example webinars and information on how to get it set up. But it's a very, very straightforward creation. It doesn't take a lot, not compared to SharePoint.
Yeah, I think that's what we've seen today, Tom. So I've got a final question here, and then if anyone would like to ask any more questions, hit the Q&A button. But failing that, you can email me afterwards. But from Matt, sort of availability of Teams with on-prem Exchange, Tom?
It's available now.
No, okay.
Exchange on-prem is the one that can be done now. Skype is start of next year. SharePoint, no idea.
Okay, great. So I think that's all the questions. Thanks for taking those, Tom, and answering them all so swiftly.
That's right.
So really, that's it, everyone, today. Thank you very much for taking the time. As I said, there's a lot of work we can do to help you, whether it's the integration, whether it's a training, whether it's discovery workshops. There's a lot of work that we can do to help you with Teams or Office 365, the licensing and so on. So thanks for taking the time, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed your Kit Kats. Like I say, there's another INOOT in January, all around. Next topic is SD-WAN. There will be a recording of this that I will send the link round later, so if you do want to share it with any of your colleagues, feel free. And also part of that email, we'll be sending a survey, because we really appreciate your feedback on how we can fine-tune and improve these INOOT webinars in the future. So thank you, Tom, for taking your time.
No problem.
Thank you, everyone, for attending today. Have a great Friday, and that's it for now.